In the last 3 months, Render token has gone from under $5 to now sitting at almost $8. This is a huge jump. And in the past 1 month, Render token has gone from 527 to 796. And in today's video, we'll be talking about how you can get the highest APR possible with Render token. So basically, if you don't know what Render token is, over on their CoinGecko, you can click on their website and go to it, read about Render token. So Render says they're the leading provider of decentralized GPU-based rendering solutions, revolutionizing the digital creation process. And scrolling down, you can read more about Render. To achieve the highest possible APR with Render, we're going to be using a business model that we like to call liquidity as a service. It's basically when you provide liquidity to a decentralized exchange such as Uniswap, and you get paid out in the fees that the traders pay. So for example, if someone were to swap ETH, for example, with Aave, if someone were to swap like 0.3 ETH, well, the trader would have to pay a fee. You see, the trader's paying a $2.29 fee. Now you may not know this, but a percentage of this fee is getting paid out to the liquidity providers. And think about how many transactions are happening every minute on the blockchain. A ton of fees are getting paid out to liquidity providers, and it's a really cool way to earn money on your already existing cryptocurrency assets. So in this video, we're going to be using a website called metrics.finance to find these liquidity pools and to simulate their returns and see the APR they can give us. So on Metrics Finance, we're going to go ahead and launch the app. And if you're excited to see how you can get high APR, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. Now, first thing first, for exchanges, I'm going to select all. The networks, I'm going to select all. And then remember, this video is about Render. So in this pool section right here, this little pool, there's a little button next to it. I'm going to click that and type in Render. Now it's going to show 11 pools. So it's going to show all the potential pools that have Render token. Some things I'm doing on Metrics Finance are available in the free version, but others are available on the pro version. And I'm leaving a link for you to claim a free 30-day trial of the pro version of Metrics Finance in the description down below. So go ahead and check that out. Right off the bat, we see wrapped ETH to Render over on Uniswap. It says it's giving 85% APR and has a TVL of over $14 million. In the last 24 hours, the average fees were almost $4,000. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit the simulate button, open it in a new tab, and we can simulate what type of returns we could get with this pool. Now, I'm going to set my sample deposit amount to $10,000, and let's scroll down here. So the first thing I like to do when looking at liquidity pools is zoom out on the calculation range to see how it has played out over the past like 90 days or so, and then zoom back in, and I'll keep my calculation range around the 20-day mark, maybe like, yeah, around the 20-day mark. Now we can change our max price and min price as we wish to find our range. Now, typically speaking, if you have a very tight range, you can get a higher APR, but you may have to adjust it or rebalance your position more often. But if you have a wider range, it can be more of a passive investing strategy where the APR is lower, but you don't need to be checking your pool every single day and making sure your investments are in range. So I'm going to go with a pretty modest range. Let's say we're to go here to min price 301 and max price 508. So according to the 20-day calculation range, we could be getting a 117% yearly APR or almost 10% a month. Remember, there are risks to this DeFi investing, such as divergence loss. So do your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do with your money. I'm just giving you my opinion. So with this current setup, we'd be taking on about 50% exposure to each asset. You can see 50% exposure to Render, 50% to wrapped Ethereum. And if you go ahead and drag the max price left, you can see we take on more exposure to Render and less to wrapped Ethereum. But if we drag the max price right, we take on more exposure to wrapped ETH and less to Render. Scrolling down, we can see the volume history. Now it looks like on November 12th, it picked up heavy, and on the 5th of November, the volume was way lower. Here it was 50,000, and here on November 12th, the volume was 2.35 million. That's a huge difference. So these returns might not be high long term. So if we set our calculation range to 90 days or something, we could see the returns we'd potentially be getting with this range. So with the same range on a 90-day horizon, it's saying, and by 90-day horizon, I mean when it's using data from the last 90 days of this pool, it's saying we'd be getting almost 58% APR, which either way, both these APRs are fantastic. So nothing really to complain about here. As you can see, these assets have 0.73 correlation, which means they are 73% correlated. Now, correlation is one of the things you can only access on the pro version of metrics, along with the calculation range. You can't go back this far on the calculation range unless you have the pro version of Metrics Finance. And remember, you can try it out for 30 days for free with the link below. So the next steps would be to do your due diligence and research on Render and Wrapped Ethereum, see if you want to take on exposure to these assets and enter the liquidity pool. If so, you can go ahead and save it to your portfolio like so in the top right. Here we have two Render to Sol positions. One's over on Orca with a 0.30% fee tier. One's over on Radium with a 0.25% fee tier. And I'm going to take a look at the one that's over on Orca because it has a higher TVL. And I personally feel like a higher TVL pool would give more consistent returns. So I'd rather be invested in a higher TVL pool. But before I made my final decision, I would definitely have to do more research because this one is showing way higher APR. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at this top Render Sol position over on Orca. I'm going to simulate it, open it up in a new tab. So right off the bat, our max price is really high. I'm going to move this down a bit, and then I'm going to move the min price down a bit as well. And I also am going to set the sample deposit amount to $10,000. So with this current range, it's saying that the estimated fees you'd be earning are about $10.69 a day or 40% yearly APR. Well, 39%. I was just rounding. These assets are 93% correlated, much higher than the last pair. And looking at the volume history, again, around November 12th, it really picked up. But the low days here are not as low as the last pool. Remember, we saw that 50,000 volume day. Here, it looks like the lowest is 309,000. So there's still a decent amount of volume even on the lowest day in the past 30 days. We can go ahead and zoom out on the calculation range to see how this has played out for the past 100 days. And we can zoom back in. We can go ahead and drag the max price down more potentially. And here it's saying with a 30-day calculation range, we'd be getting about 41% APR, 41.45. So with a $10,000 investment, it would be $11.38 per day in fees, estimated according to Metrics Finance. So this is a solid opportunity. Again, make sure you check out Render and see if it's something you'd want to take on exposure to. I'm going to go ahead and save this one to my portfolio to check it out later. I normally don't look at pools that have an under $1 million TVL, but with Render, there's not a ton of opportunities available. So a few of these do have under $1 million TVL. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this Render to Wrapped Polygon over here. It's on Uniswap. It says it's giving 116%, 117% fees APR. Let's go ahead and simulate it in a new tab. Scrolling down, we can see some big changes in volume history. Over on October 27th, it had a 30K volume day. And look, on the 11th of November, it had a $741,000 day. These assets are 86% correlated. And with a $10,000 deposit amount, I'm going to go ahead and change my range. So moving down the max price, and I'm going to move down the min price just a bit. We're looking at 65% APR based on 30 days of data. If we change it to 15, it's displaying 101% APR, but I assume this wouldn't last for too long just because the volume was pretty inflated since November 11th. I have not done my due diligence on Wrapped Polygon, so if I were interested in investing into this position and taking on exposure to these assets, I would definitely want to do my due diligence and research into Wrapped Polygon, see what the token is about. Once you have added pools to your portfolio on Metrics Finance, you can go to the build section at the top and it will bring up this screen. You can see an overview of all the pools you've added to your portfolio. For now, I just have this one added for the sake of this video. So now, say you did your due diligence and you want to enter this pool. I'll show you the basic steps on how to enter the pool. So you'd first go to the website orca.so, then go to the pool section at the top, and then here where it says search tokens, go ahead and search for Render. There we go. And also you're going to want to connect your wallet in the top right. I'm using Phantom Wallet. That's what I use on Orca. And then you're going to find the position. Now, here you can see it's Render Sol with a 0.30%. So let's go ahead and see that Render Sol with a 0.3%. Click on that. Here we can see the range we set. So what we would do is paste in the min and max range we figured out through Metrics Finance. So I would go here to custom and click the min range, paste it in, and then I'd go find the max range, go ahead and paste it in right here. And now we should see our range graph. It's saying with this setup, we'd be having 25.3% render, 74.7% Solana, and the estimated yield based on the past 24 hours would be 0.426%. So you could go ahead and type in how much money you want to deposit into the pool and go ahead and join the pool. I really hope you found this video helpful. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload, and go ahead and check out Metrics Pro in the description down below. Remember, you can claim a free 30 days. Anyways, comment below what other videos you'd like to see me make, and have a good one.